He is an actor, a musician, and just a really cool guy. His name is Zach Callison, and he is here for his panel on music and acting. Welcome, Zach Callison.
Hey.
Hello.
Thanks for showing up on a Sunday, guys.
It's another one for you.
I'll probably get through both of these.
There you go. Well, thank you for coming to MomoCon again.
Always. This is my most tenured con now. This is my third MomoCon.
Yes. I mean, I'm pretty sure this was one of your first that you came to?
Yeah, in 2016, it was among the first, 5, I think. And it is my favorite convention now.
Oh, thank you. Atlanta loves
make that-
you. We're glad you're here. And you have had just an amazing career in general. I would love to talk about how, of course, everyone's going to ask where you started with your career, how young you were, and kind of like the journey that you've taken to get to where you are right now.
About 30 years ago. Actually, I've been in the business for 15 years, which is a surprise to some people, but I did a play when I was 7, fell in love with that. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri, by the way. Did that, and then I did a lot of theater around St. Louis, and eventually it fell into film and television. One movie came through St. Louis, which never happens, and I got a scene that got deleted from the movie, and it was deleted from a movie that never actually came out, which is a true Hollywood story. It happens all the time. But I fell in love with it. I was throwing M&Ms into a cup in this scene and talking to Clayne Crawford of all people, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this, Mom. Can we do this? She's like, we live in Missouri, so probably not. And then I bugged them for months and months and months, and then we ended up getting some interest from some agencies in Los Angeles eventually, and that was 12 years ago.
Awesome. And it wasn't just so most of us here possibly know you from Steven Universe, but you showed up on the Goldbergs. What are some other projects that you've worked on just in the past, I don't know, let's say 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, that's definitely when the work really picked up for me. I'm very fortunate. Goldbergs has had me in for 8 or 9 episodes now, and they just got renewed for season 6, which is a big deal. And they got their spinoff too, which I'm not on, but that's doing really well. Schooled. I was on Just Add Magic for Amazon. I was their villain for season 2, which I was like, oh, you want to cast me as the villain? I hope you know what you're doing, but yeah, I'm down. And it ended up being really, really fun. I was playing a time traveling 16-year-old greaser with a pompadour and a leather jacket, who was hell bent on ruining these adorable girls' plans for making friends with people, and I was just doing all these nasty, terrible things.
So rude.
I had a good motive in the end, but I did a lot of dastardly stuff. It was very fun. And I was on camera too. I've done some other animation work, and I'm working on a new show right now, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet.
Oh crap! Well, if you feel like you want to before the end of the evening, just let us know.
I'll violate all the NDAs.
And also, I thought it was pretty cool you did some voiceover work for some different channels for, I can't remember what it was, but...
I worked for Disney Animation at one point for Sophia the First, Cartoon Network, obviously. I'm working with DreamWorks right now for that new project.
Yes. Ooh, that's a good one, because DreamWorks has been putting out some really, really great animations.
Yeah, the DreamWorks television, this has been such a great thing. It's created a ton of jobs for actors, and they're making some really cool spin-off series, and I'm very happy to be working with them.
A lot of their shows have been really inclusive, too. Do you, in terms of just gender, sexuality, anything like that, is that, I don't know if you can say it, but is the show you're working on maybe going to be kind of based like that? Like shows like She-Ra and Voltron who've done it?
Not so much to my knowledge. It's very much like an action adventure type show.
Okay, I'm just really trying to milk this. You can tell. It's like
totally.
Does it have the word the He-Man in it? No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I want that to be a show.
So which Thundercat spinoff are you on, Zach? The one or the one? There's only one.
That would be great. So, in terms of acting, where do you find that you kind of get your most inspiration? What kind of gives you that drive? What do you prefer in terms of being on screen and acting in the camera? What is the difference between those two, or do you prefer one over the other?
On camera versus voiceover?
Mm.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I find voiceover to be the most natural to me. Probably I've gotten a little more like, week in, week out practice with it, but also it's interesting how different the approach is when you're trying to channel all of your emotion that you need to convey into one medium, which is your voice. You have so much else going on camera with your facial expressions, your body language, your the technicalities of cheating to camera and playing off light and film acting is a very precise, technical, almost mechanical thing sometimes. And voiceover is in its own way too. Doing multiple takes of the same line back to back and not having anybody else in the booth sometimes, but you're channeling everything to one single focal point in your voice, and that's almost freeing at times. It's almost like it's an easier thing to focus on by putting it all into that one point.
Okay, awesome. And as you've been on Steven Universe, firstly, was it really cool this weekend? Did you get a lot of time to hang out with your other cast members?
Yeah, that's why we see each other in the studio occasionally, but we love doing these conventions because not only do we get to see the fans, but we're all hanging out together. And Susan's not in the booth with me almost ever, obviously. So.
Oh no, you don't have any scenes together?
Storm in the Room, where she was playing like fake imaginary Rose. We did that one together, which I was really grateful for because there's a lot of major cast members that I've never done a session with, like Tom Sharpling, who plays Greg. I've never recorded with him because he lives in New Jersey.
Wow, that's actually really interesting to hear because I would have loved to have like a jam session between you guys, like a real one.
I know, we met like twice, and he's really funny. Yeah, I was hoping we would be able to record at some point before the show ends, but we'll see.
We'll see.
I know he was in LA one time, and I happened to not be in town at that one time, so.
You're like, sorry, Cartoon Dad, missed you. Come through in your van next time.
Exactly.
I was going to add another question on.
He's a great casting choice, I have to say, though. Like, he does Greg perfectly. The story of how Rebecca, she did not audition for the role of Greg. She wanted Tom for it from the beginning. He does a show called The Best Show. It's this really, really funny radio show on the East Coast up in New Jersey where he's from. And she was a listener to it all through college and for many years and was a big fan and just hit him up with an offer like, hey, do you wanna be in my cartoon? And yeah, that's how he's Greg.
Well, cool. Well, since you've been working on the show, Rebecca has made some really amazing choices in terms of her story, her voicing, and I think it's interesting how you start out younger, and something that just happens with guys' voices, they change throughout the show. Has that, it seems like it's pretty been seamless in the show, but how had you dealt with that going forward when you were recording? Were there any like major hiccups that popped up, especially when you're recording music?
Yeah, it did happen. I was really nervous the whole time because I had lost 2 other shows when my voice changed because I couldn't play like 8-year-olds anymore. And Steven was obviously a different case, but I was in paranoia mode. I'm like, with every voice crack, like I get closer to being fired. And that was not the case at all. Like they wanted him to age. They wanted him to go through that. I didn't know that at the time. So I was every session I was trying to like keep my voice out. They're like, no, it's fine if he, progresses with you. Rebecca really, and they told me later like they really liked my original audition because I sounded like a child because I was. You get a lot of adults playing children in animation, and that's ideal for certain tones of certain shows where you need that kind of comedic talent or whatever, but that an adult can provide. But for Steven, it's so naturalistic and it's so down to earth in a lot of ways. So that was really important for them early on, and I think they knew that came with the territory that the voice would change at some point. Honestly, I had a pretty painless voice change compared to some others. I'm still a high tenor, and I have a lot of my upper range, and we're able to do a lot with that.
Cool. Before we kind of transition directly into your music, I know you had released an album recently, and then we had a few more episodes that came out. Of course, they were probably being shot at the time, but I feel like some of the music that they had in like the latter seasons of the show had a little bit more of a rock flair to them. Did you have any sort of input on the music in some of the later seasons?
Not directly, but I think Rebecca caters things in the show, especially later on in the show, around us. The characters take inspiration and note from the actors, and that's true with all of us, I think. Rebecca has said that publicly. And she knows that's a lot of the kind of music I'm into, so I think that might have had a subtle part to play, but I have not been in the writer's room for a song specifically, except, well, there was one I was like around for when they were finishing it, and I helped a little, but I wasn't like actually writing it or anything.
Well, which one was that?
It's not out yet.
Oh yeah, because the next movie is a musical, so there's a lot more.
What movie?
Wait, we have. Oh, I gave mine away. There were buttons going off.
Yo,
around,
did you guys see the buttons they were giving out? Cartoon Network was here
Yeah,
earlier in the weekend. It's so hype.
they were super cool and taking pictures. Hopefully, some of the cosplayers got pictures with Cartoon Network. I'm sure it's going to be on social sometime soon. So
That
that's really
character on
exciting.
the buttons is so cool. I can't wait.
I hear their name is a secret, so we can't know.
Yeah, I've like almost said it this weekend a few times, so. Whoops. I haven't actually said it.
I'm trying to like my integrity to not pull those things out. All right, so
Rainbow Super Diamond Chords.
oh my goodness, I knew it. Red Rainbow Super Diamond Quartz 2.0.
2.0. Reloaded. Electric Boogaloo.
Electric van. So to just touch on this, welcome back to social media.
Thanks. I'm not staying. It was just, I was just posting for MomoCon.
Well, we appreciate that, and we also kind of appreciate, not to go deep into it, that your contribution that you've made for some of the things that are happening here in our state. And I just think that's really cool that a lot of celebrities are standing up for that. So I wanted to just kind of like.
Thank you. I mean, with the whole entertainment industry boycott that's happening with Georgia, the other option was cancel, and I was like, no.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, that just hurts you guys.
Right.
And I wanted
We
to,
miss you.
Yeah.
So cool. So that's that.
Yeah, a portion of the proceeds of the table are going to ACLU of Georgia, and we're taking additional donations at the table if anyone feels so inclined. We have a jar, so if you're so inclined, please come by later.
Yeah. You have his autograph session is at 2:30. We'll probably mention that at the end, like after this panel. So definitely go by and see before you leave again.
Yeah, that's my last one for the weekend because I fly out after. So.
Yes. See ya.
That's that one, like the
Bingo
half-hearted
bongo.
finger guns. I learned that from Grace Rolick. That's like her thing.
She's so quirk. I love her.
Who, by the way, if you haven't heard my album, she's on the album as well on a feature, doing like she's actually playing like the voice of my conscience and is like arguing with me in like a Hamilton style like rap battle. It's pretty sick. So check it out.
So I do actually want to talk about that because the album that you released was incredibly fun.
Thank you. That's one way to put it.
Yeah. It was definitely very different, and I want you to just express where your inspiration came from. It's a very cool rock album. I could hear like a lot of the different elements that are going on, and I need to know who Juanita is. So
Okay.
if anyone's listened.
So about that. You're late. I'm kidding. That's Keely and Mac. Everyone say hi, Keely and Mac.
Hi, Keely and Mac.
That's very important. That's okay. We were just transitioning to Picture Perfect Hollywood Heartbreak. So, yeah, it definitely has the rock elements, but it's definitely in its own weird little niche. People that are into groups like me, like Panic at the Disco and 21 Pilots, and like it's very theatrical. There is a hip hop rap element to it, but it definitely takes a page from my musical theater days, which I had almost lost touch with until I started writing. I'm like, hey, wait a second. And it's presented in the form of a short one-act play. It's a continuous story from front to back. And Juanita is a love that was very dear to me at one point, and it's basically it's called A Picture Perfect Hollywood Heartbreak in that it's about getting your heart broken initially, and then like what happens when someone with a lot of eyes on them in young Hollywood, how they deal with that, because that's my favorite topic to talk about is the plight of young performers in Los Angeles, because it's something I've seen firsthand, and that's definitely a big theme in it. So if you're into theatrical storytelling, it's definitely something to check out.
So around what time did you start getting back into writing for music? When did you what were you working on? And you're like, you know what? Let me just go back into this. What really re-triggered that?
Well, I was working on not getting dumped. I got dumped. I was 17. It was one of those like high school like we're gonna be together forever relationships, and it's so ridiculous in hindsight. Now that I'm 30. What'd you say? Wait, really? I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh. When did that happen?
I believe he is, as of Change Your Mind, yeah. So the gap between us increases. Yeah, no, I wrote the first song on the record like a month after that happened in September of 2015. But I wrote it as like catharsis instead of like rocking back and forth in my room. So, and then I was like, hey, this is kind of cool. Like I should, because the inspiration behind it, and there's a song called War on the album. It's very like, thank you, I appreciate it. And that was the lead single. It's very much like, it's aggressively calling her out because she was and is a singer-songwriter and performer. I mean, we all are, in my circle of friends, that's how we all knew each other. And she'd been working on the same EP for like years and had not released it. So in the time that she was like working on it, I became a musician, like learned how to write songs, finished the album, put it out, and then a week later she dropped hers out of nowhere.
Timing.
Crazy.
Juanita, we're
crazy
still waiting.
stuff.
And then she's like, oh, sorry, you were waiting.
Juanita was still waiting. And that's all right. That's okay.
That's all right. There's actually some really, really good lyrical work in that. Like, I listened to, me and my roommate were jamming out to it when it first released. It was really disgusting. There was an Instagram story. Don't look for it.
Thank you.
And we're just so impressed by, like, your abilities to rap, just lyrically how it was going. Like, is that, what amount of practice do you put into that? Or does that kind of just tie into how you practice for anything in your career?
I mean, the skills I had acquired as a performer and as an actor over the years and as a singer definitely helped me. But I got into hip hop like in 2015 for the first time, and I learned how to rap for the album and learned how to write it. And the raps that you hear on there now were much crappier versions earlier on that I wrote over again many times. And it was like a trial by error because everybody has their bad tracks they write to get to their good ones. But I basically, I just lost my train of thought, sorry. Yeah, everybody has to write their bad tracks to their good ones, and those tracks started out as my bad tracks, and I just basically spent 3 years tweaking them until they were the final product, and I feel like I can actually go forth and say that I rap now to an extent. I don't consider myself a rapper. I'm not a rapper. But it's definitely like an influence on my style. It's almost like spoken word, like slam poetry at times too. It differentiates between style.
I know that you had a video that you were shooting with like Caleb Hayes, who's also was here this weekend.
Yeah.
Doing some really cool things. Are there any
Caleb
other
Hiles.
Hiles?
Yeah.
Yep, that's recorded. I'm so sorry. But are there any other inspirations that you can kind of like pinpoint or can thank for helping you to produce a lot of the music and like the videos and things that you were doing kind of as your side?
Yeah, I mean, the two music producers I worked with on the album, Anthony Mazza and Chase Ryan, became very good friends of mine through the course of the production, and they both took on like mentor roles for me, like teaching me about music production and how to work on the technical side and the creative side of behind the scenes on producing records. And Chase especially has become like a really, really good friend and somebody I'm tight with, and he got to see me at my most personal when I'm, writing this album and trying to get the message across, and he was very much instrumental in the final product. He's been a big inspiration.
Awesome. Are you planning to release another album soon?
So I've been working on some new demos. They're hot. Thank you. I'm getting ready to like sayonara for a little while and like go backpack around the world and like eat borscht in Russia. So it's not going to come out till like next year at least, but they are just about done, and I'm just sitting on them right now. So sorry about that, but thank you. I want to come back and like really attack it with the proper attention that it's due. If anybody saw videos from the tour I did with Nate Wants to Battle, if anybody knows him, he's awesome.
Also here?
Yeah. I went on tour with him in August as his like support act for his music, and it was like one of the best experiences of my life. We played a couple songs on that tour that are not on the album, and those are a couple of the ones I'm working on demo-wise right now. So, yeah.
So awesome.
It's hype, man. We came to each other in mutual appreciation. We met through Dungeons and Dragons, Dark and Dicey. We had that show for a season, and it was really fun. We had met each other, and I knew Christina V, who was on the show when we started, and he kind of hit me up out of the blue, like, "Hey, man, like we're putting this together." I'm like, "That sounds awesome!" Like getting paid to play D&D. I'm like, "Let's do it." And then like slowly, he's like, "Hey, you want to be in my music video next weekend? Like, hey, you want to come in the studio and hang out? Hey, do you want to like come on tour with me?" I'm like, "Wait, what?"
That escalated.
I was like, I can go on tour, like that's a thing I can do. Like I haven't even released my album yet. So I released the album, and the following week we went on tour, and people dug it. So, and we played a D&D campaign on the tour bus. I rolled for initiative in a Walmart parking lot in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, did you roll high? Were you successful?
What's that?
Were you successful? What was your role?
I survived the campaign. It was a 2-shot we did, and we had a lot of new players. It was like 12 of us. It was
Wow.
alarmingly large because the whole tour basically played. All the support staff and all the band members. Nate DM'd because he's the only one that could handle something like that.
So do you have, aside from playing D&D, and like I said, you are going to go kind of like backpacking, being outdoors, what kind of calms you down, and like what is the way that what do you do when you're not working, basically?
I watch a lot of baseball. I'm a big St. Louis Cardinals fan, who beat the Braves yesterday.
Ooh. But also it's okay.
It's cool. We lost the first 2 games. Yeah, I watch a lot of baseball. Obviously, I write a lot of music, although less lately because I've been preparing for this trip. I go to a lot of music festivals and raves and electronic music shows, band shows. I went to EDC last weekend, and I'm going to Bonnaroo next month in this neck of the woods. So
Awesome.
that's a big thing I'm into.
That's cool.
I was at the MomoCon rave last night too.
I wasn't gonna call you out, but
Yeah, that was.
I may have seen you there.
That was. You may have seen me. You went with me.
What?
We all went together.
I know, we were photobombed.
Yeah, I did photobomb them. I want to see that, by the way, before I leave, because I never got to see it. I think it might be my finest work.
It does not exist. It was really good.
Yeah, that was really. I wasn't expecting like a dubstep show. I was really into it.
Yeah, MomoCon brings really good raves, so
I
I didn't go last year.
I leave for 2 years, and y'all hit the bass booster button.
We're like, what's gonna bring Zach back? Pegboard nerds. Okay. Is there ride available? We got to bring them too. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I am cool to open up the floor for some questions.
All right.
We have our mic over here with the wonderful Lee. She will help to kind of screen some.
What do you guys want to talk about? Foreign policy, federal highway funding.
Just to be clear, if anyone is going to mention anything Steven Universe related, are we season 7? We're good.
Wait, season
8? We're good.
We got a season 7.
Oh, is this? What's my brain? Oh,
Season
I'm on
5 just
Voltron brain.
finished.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there's gonna be mad spoilers through Change Your Mind probably. So just
yeah,
know
as long
that
as
if you're-
everybody's okay with that.
What's that? No, yeah, no.
You're like
We're
7.
yeah. I mean, we're probably
Maybe.
gonna talk about what's up to date. So if you're not up to date, you're gonna get spoiled. Sorry.
Yes. So like earmuffs or whatever it's called. We'll do, like, spoiler alert.
No movie spoilers.
Yeah. Like the name of that red diamond thing, which is
The red diamond thing? Is
Yeah.
that what you think?
That's what it's called.
Is that
Yeah,
your
I don't
official
know.
fan theory?
It's red. Anyways. All right.
All right. Hey, first I just want to say I was actually at your very first show in Nashville with Nate, and
Oh,
that was
dude,
amazing.
thank you.
Yeah, we jumped in the crowd when you did Bangarang, so that was fantastic.
Dude, yeah, thank you for mentioning that. We did a live band cover of Skrillex's Bangarang on tour with Nate. At the first show, which Keeley was at, we had a horn player and a cello player doing it too. But yeah, man, thank you for coming to that. That was one of our more lively crowds, actually. So thank you.
Yeah, it was one of the best experiences of my life, I have to say. But after you go backpacking around the world, taking some time off, do you actually plan on doing a tour for yourself?
100%. I gotta build up to that. I need to get a better. I was doing a lot of the music management stuff like myself. I need to get a team built around me, but yeah, that's definitely in the cards in the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for being there, man. That was a fun show.
Hello.
Hey.
So I'm heavily involved in theater at my high school, and
Great.
Since you're like a successful actor, and you said in earlier panels that like theater is your thing, and like you do that in your off time when you need to calm down. So do you have any tips for like being a better actor and like getting good at it? So.
Yeah, I mean, the saying goes, what is it? TV's for writers, films for directors, theater's for the actors. And that it's the purest medium we have to practice our craft. I mean, you're doing musical theater or straight plays?
Both.
Okay. Yeah, the key is like know when to be broad, when to project, when to project that musical theater energy, and know when to pull it back. The thing I had to learn when I moved to LA to pursue film and television is I was too broad. I was like doing like hand motions with everything I said, and I was screaming all my lines so they could hear me in the back row. And it's an audition room with 2 people that's 5 by 5. Like, knowing your tone is really important. And being able to go to either extreme, whether it's playing for a 12,000 person crowd or a 1 person crowd for a camera, it's really important to know the difference.
Thank you.
Best of luck. Break a leg.
Hi. I was wondering, on a bad day, what's your go-to songs?
Like emo rap, I guess. And just like emo, like old Linkin Park. Nirvana. That's more like sad, angry though. All around me are familiar faces. That's my meme sad song. I have a playlist. I use it for different things. It's not always my I'm sad playlist. It's also like I'm like really chill playlist, like really trying to like meditate almost. It's got like Sarah Bareilles and like Bruno Mars ballads in there. I was listening to that on my way here because I was getting into my Zen mode. But it's also my very sad boy playlist. So there's some Frank Ocean on there.
Sad boy playlist.
Frank Ocean, like Leonard Cohen, Death Cab for Cutie.
Can we get this playlist on Spotify? Is there sad boy playlist? Does that exist?
No, it's called New York.
Oh.
So I had like a really bad day in New York, and I made it. And I haven't been back to New York since.
Throw the whole state away. Like that's unless
Yeah.
you're from New York.
I name a lot on my playlists like about like whatever I'm listening to on repeat in a certain city. I like turn that into a playlist and name it after the city. So I have like a Portland, a Phoenix, a Adelaide, a London. Yeah.
Is there in Atlanta, or is this for bad days? Only bad days?
No, it's just in general. I don't have an Atlanta one though. I'm always out dancing to other people's music in Atlanta. So
Makes sense.
Thank you.
thank you. Great question.
So what is your dream role?
Let's see. Well, hang on. Let me go on Leonardo DiCaprio's. My dream role. I've always wanted to be in an action movie, and do some minor stunt stuff, and John Wick it up a little bit. Feature film in general. Like I really want to do more. That's what I came to LA for, and it's what I've done the least of. You get involved in all sorts of other stuff along the way, but thrillers, action movies. I'd love to do some of that at least once, and then maybe get back and do some classic theater. Like I've always wanted to revisit my first play, The Music Man, but play Harold instead of Winthrop. So maybe one day I'll do that too.
Thank you.
I forgot to kind of mention this and kind of ask about it. You actually did a feature film, like a small film, with Grace.
Yeah, well, we did a little short called Mailboxes. I don't think it's out yet. She's still shopping it around to festivals, but it will be.
Okay, cool. Mailboxes.
Hi, I'm Joe, and I had kind of a silly question because you mentioned D&D. So I gotta know, what is your character's class, race, alignment, and what edition did you play?
Okay, so I was a small deep gnome named Warbin Wildcheek, but don't tell me I'm small. Only I'm allowed to say that. I'm basically Liam Neeson from Taken, but 3 feet tall. And I don't want to take shit from anyone. Basically, my daughter got kidnapped, and I hate humans because they killed all my friends. They ruined my business. I'm a mercenary. I ran a mercenary company for like missions and stuff in the Underdark, and these humans like massacred everyone and kidnapped my daughter and literally sold her to the circus. So I was going like full like sicko mode on all the humans I could find. Alignment-wise, it was chaotic good in the end. I left it. I had him as neutral, and then like I ended up switching it mid-campaign as he like warmed up to his party members. But I was probably like the second most good character in our campaign, and I wasn't that good. Like we were pretty much like, we weren't a villain campaign, but we were definitely like a hard anti-hero with an evil slant campaign.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much and love you.
Much love, thank you.
Hello. This
What
isn't a
up,
question.
gangsta?
I just want to say, Jeremy Shada, I'm your biggest fan.
Oh no, this has gotten out of control.
Close the panel.
Yeah, in front of 5,000 people, that would have been funny, honestly. There's a dank meme that I'm Jeremy Shada from Adventure Time. People would actually confuse us, like when we were sitting next to each other at conventions, like, and they have the big sign that says our name. They'd look at it, they'd see my face, they'd see Steven, they'd see Zach Callison, and be like, "You're Finn from Adventure Time." It happens all the time, and like, it's kind of gotten out of control because like we get compared a lot because we're the same age. We're like boy leads on Cartoon Network shows, and we both have brown hair, and people confuse us a lot. And the meme got out of control, and now all my friends in LA like will like joke about it. They're like, "Yo, Jeremy, like how was your con?" Yeah, and Mac knows. So yeah, that's the origin of that. I don't even think he's aware of how out of control the meme has gotten, which is even funnier to me.
He gets tagged. He's probably just like, this isn't me. Move on. The notifications.
It's like, that's not Jeremy Shada. I'm Jeremy Shada.
Did I go to MomoCon this year? Huh.
All right, so what do you think about Ruby and Sapphire in Steven Universe?
They're pushing the gay agenda, and it needs to stop. No. I'm joking. No, we love Ruby and Sapphire. Like you said, it's a beautiful romance. It's a beautiful children's book now that's immortalized that way. When the book came out, we did they have like gallery shows in the lobby of Cartoon Network where they have different artists that work there, or guest artists like display their stuff. But for that, they made a gallery show, and every page of the book was up and framed, and you could like go through it in sequence. It was really nice. Thank you.
Hi.
Hey.
I just want to ask, what was going through your mind whenever you had to record the episode Change Your Mind?
I was like, wait, you want me to scream how loud? I mean, like, I knew a lot of that was coming, and I had been, like, pre-briefed on it, and it was really intense, and it was really fun. But that specific moment, we spent, like, 35 minutes at the end of the session doing that scream. That it was really important to Rebecca to get something very specific that she had in mind, that the crew had in mind. And, yeah, she wanted it to be, like, inhuman, like a banshee wail. Totally, like, almost not even sounding like Steven. So we specifically saved it so I would have a voice to do the rest of the episode, and we saved that for last and did it. It was a really, really nice cap on a really crazy season.
Did it almost hurt your voice?
That one definitely did. But sometimes like video game voice actors will tell you, like, sometimes you gotta, that's part of the job, and you'll need to do something that's demanding of that kind of rigor on your voice. Yeah, so it's all good. That's not the norm at all. I come out with my voice intact almost every time, but that session we had to go there for that.
Alrighty, thank you.
My question for you is, if you did another album, would you keep it within the same genre, or would you play around with something new?
It's definitely gonna move in a different direction that I'm already setting my sights on, but it definitely still has that like quirky theatrical quality of the last one. I'm trying to think of some of the demos we're working on. The one that's the most complete is like, I'd say it's War. It's like a spiritual successor to War almost, but like it's very. We're using like program drums instead of real drums. I wanna do more of that and like more solid like locked in hip hop beats rather than like really dynamic drums. That's probably the biggest change that's going to happen from this project to the next one.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so follow up on the D&D. What has been by far the most craziest yet funniest moment you guys ever had, or like scenario that you guys ever went through?
This wasn't on Dark and Dicey, but one time my friend was like showing off his like shiny dexterity skill in a new campaign. And is like, I want to do a cartwheel on the beach, and like broke his leg when he rolled a one. And we had to carry him for the rest of the campaign. That was pretty incredible. I was playing a character in that campaign. This is before Dark and Dicey, just like with friends. There was Li Feng. He was a monk, like a failed like burnout monk that had been booted from the monastery because of behavioral issues. And he's like remarkably stupid. And so like all my points are in like strength, dex, and a little bit in con, and everything is like he's a 1 wisdom, 1 intelligence. He's a moron. But he like at one point I rolled a 20 on a punch and like it created a small nuclear explosion. Because my DM is awesome. So I'm definitely going to bring him out of the vault at some point. I'm trying to think of some crazy stuff that happened on Dark and Dicey. There was so much crazy stuff happening every episode. Christina V's character, Anya, was like the wild card, and she would like do stuff that would interfere with our campaign and like mess us up all the time just for shiggles. Yeah, shiggles, yeah.
You can say shiggles.
And now you know, that's a new word. That she, at one point, we went to try and like steal this bracelet that allowed us to do magic in the kingdom from this like guard captain while he was bathing in like a spring. And we're like scoping it out from the outside of the spring, and she just like walks up and like attempts to hit on him, and then like and he comes out of the water and we realize he is a centaur. And then fails all of the charisma checks fantastically. He's like, leave, you're a lizard person and I don't like you. And then we basically had to fight this guy. I get knocked out immediately and was not present for the entire fight. I was unconscious. And then they end up killing him, and then she was a necromancer, so she made like a zombie version of him and then like kept him in like a shack and like would go on like moonlight dates with him. Because she loved him so much, but he wouldn't have her in his mortal days. So she created this like zombie that can't talk and just like moans and groans and all that, and would go and visit him like periodically throughout the campaign.
BRB, gotta go on date with Centaur Zombie.
And things like that happened like multiple times an episode on Dark and Dicey. Like you guys should really check out the VODs. It was really, really fun.
Oh, you do VOD?
What's
like,
that?
You do like a VOD D&D?
Yeah, that was a show we were doing on Twitch. So all the VODs are saved. I think it's on not Nate's YouTube channel. It's it might be on the official. We were on the official Wizards D&D channel on Twitch. So check on their VODs on Twitch and their YouTube channel.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So with all the twists and turns that happen in Steven Universe, like how aware are you and like the other voice actors of the future plot?
I probably am usually the most aware just because I'm in the studio more often, and I talk with Rebecca periodically and I ask her questions and stuff. So occasionally she'll keep a secret from me on purpose that we agree to, just because it's something that we might want Steven and me to learn in the moment to aid the performance. But typically I know a month or two out like the major plot points that are happening, but I typically really don't see what's going on in an episode until I sit down in the studio that morning and they put the board up and they like pitch it to me. I like doing it as I go and learning it in the moment. On a new show, I would definitely go through the script and like rehearse and do all that. But for Steven, it's like I almost have that flow down where I can get into Steven easily, and I just want to be pitched the episode real time and go off of that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great cosplay.
Hi, I was at the Steven Universe voice actor panel yesterday, and I was in line for the questions, but I didn't get to ask this one.
Sorry
and it
about
was
that.
for the whole group, but since you're the only one I've seen here, since the beginning of the series, I've noticed that there's gem sonas. Have you ever heard of those?
Oh, of course. Yeah. We love those.
I had a friend who drew them a lot, and specifically for herself, she would do a lapis, almost very close to the lapis they revealed.
Oh, wait. This was before Lapis.
Before lapis was revealed.
Oh, that was like early then. Wow.
Yeah.
That was
She
like
made it
that's
for
probably one of the
herself.
first people that made a gemstone. Props to your friend for like sticking with us.
My sister's also a very big fan, by the way.
This is your sister or your friend you're talking about?
Oh, my friend, but my sister is
Okay,
also
cool.
a fan.
Well,
Thank you.
Tell her I said hello.
I will.
That sucks. Like look at my creative thing I did. Oh, Rebecca.
Did you ever have like a favorite line or season to record in the booth?
A favorite line specifically. I don't know how we got away with this one, but a boy on the cusp of manhood can spend the whole day whackering. And that's what it sounded like, because it was the teenage Steven with his voice cracking. Yeah, like we get notes from S&P, Standards and Practices, the Cartoon Network, on different things when they're like, you can't say that. That's a curse word in Canada or whatever. Or that's too violent. You can't do that. So we get S&P notes on like things like the word dirt. Like for some reason, people don't like that in certain parts of the world, so we have to like change things. It's like weird stuff like that. That's just an example. No S&P notes on that line. Not a one. Incredible.
They're like, no, that's okay.
We were all like, guys, did we get it in? Did we get it in?
Hey, so your hair is pink now. So do you have
No.
another dimension in it? Like, can you reach your hand inside like Lars?
Yeah, it goes all the way around.
All right. Also, yeah, I enjoy your album a lot.
Thanks,
and
man. I appreciate it.
We'll be here waiting.
Thank
for
you.
whatever
Yeah,
you
we
need.
got
Take
we got
as
more
much
coming.
time as you need.
Hopefully we'll play a show in Atlanta one of these days.
Awesome.
Yes, please.
Nate played a show in Atlanta, but I wasn't able to come on that part of the tour, which was unfortunate because I was looking forward to seeing people.
Hi, what's it like to work with the Steven Universe cast?
Really, just a nightmare, honestly. They're family now. It's a really special thing we got going. Yeah, I'm very blessed to have them as people very close in my life, not just coworkers.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to jump up? Yes.
You can.
You're a theater actor, aren't
literally
you?
Can.
Ha ha. Oh, that's the best training. A lot of video game RPGs. Gaming is my origin for nerddom and Comic-Con stuff. That's like my neck of the woods. I don't game as much as I used to, not nearly as much, but that was like Mass Effect. Love Mass Effect RPG wise. A lot of the Bethesda games, but yeah. No, I've never played any other tabletop RPG actually. I'd be interested to try some. What is it? Oh, did you? I need to get mine finally. Like I see them all the time, and I always talk to people that are wearing them. They're my favorite. Oh, okay, bet. I'm really into sci-fi specifically. Like I and some traditional fantasy too. Like I was a Harry Potter fan as a kid, but Star Wars was my jam. Pokemon was my jam. Like I said, Mass Effect. Yeah, I was always really into sci-fi specifically. So.
Have you seen the new Pokemon movie?
Yes.
Which would be your Pokemon like cohort?
So my favorite Pokemon is Mantine, which is so weird, and people are always like, "What?" I can't like take a Mantine with me everywhere because he's a flap, so he needs water. So for like my day-to-day like kicking it, Heracross, man, always Heracross.
Awesome. Oh, we have
Pokemon peaked in Gen 2. You don't even know what you're talking about. Thank you. Gen 3 is actually my favorite, but And after Gen 5, they don't exist.
One of our really good friends, she actually just started driving recently, and she got a car and named it Juanita. And I was just wondering if you had any other like fun fan things that you've heard like that.
Yeah, people have like brought me some really funny stuff. There have been some F Juanita chants at shows, which has been really funny. That's not her real name, so it's okay. I gave her a pseudonym so people wouldn't like find her and like go like Ariana Grande full stand girl on her. Ariana Grande's stands are. Actually, we're live streaming. I'm not going to mention that. I don't want
We know what they are.
I don't want my DMs to blow up in an hour. But yeah, no, there's been a lot of like really creative, funny stuff. I'm trying to remember. People have brought me some like fan art of the album with like funny Juanita notes on it. People have named Juanita have been like, hey.
So
stop screaming at me.
Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, was the Juanita thing, that was just a coincidence, or was it about the Juanita from the album?
It was on purpose.
Oh, that's amazing.
It is a great name to say. Like I said, me and my roommate, like that is just like our exclamation. It's just like our interjection. It's like, Juanita! You know, like it's just really, it's like Tetsuo.
Yeah, we used to call her Juanita as a nickname, and Patricia, because she's Hispanic, but she has like the most white girl name on the planet, and is very much aware of it. So we gave her these like really Hispanic, Latin sounding nicknames. So she felt more in touch with it.
Okay, so you said you played Bethesda games.
Yes.
So you've played Skyrim.
Of course.
Very important question. Stormcloak or Imperial?
Thank you.
Imperials.
Good.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah, that's like, when it came out, everyone's like, Skyrim belongs to the Nords, and there was no room for argument, but like, if the Thalmor are gonna like wreck them if they take over Skyrim, like.
Well, the Stormcloaks are racist, so.
Oh yeah, they're mad racist. Let's not even to mention that. Yeah, like they stand no chance. They're gonna rebel. They're gonna get their butts kicked in by the Thalmor, and it's just gonna be even worse in Skyrim once they win. So like, fight for the Imperials for now and gather strength later. That's my philosophy. Put a lot of thought into this.
Obviously.
Do you have any cute stories about your dog?
Oh, yeah, he's sleeping.
I can tell one right now
guys.
because he's like just curled up, all like.
He's
Yeah,
so
he's-
cute.
This one time during
He's
the
like-
MomoCon panel.
He's a
he
wiener
was
dog.
cute.
He's like, what? I was sleeping. Stop. Dad, put me down. I didn't get my 8 hours last night. Put me down. He sat up here with me for the panel yesterday in the big room. So he was like on the big screen and stuff. Honestly, that's a cute story about my dog from yesterday. He's 8. He's like graying. He's old as hell now.
What's his name?
Colby, like the cheese. I actually, here's another cute story. It's not so cute, actually. I named him after a baseball player, Colby Rasmus, who played for my Cardinals, and they traded him like 3 months after we got him. So now it's Colby after the cheese. I wanted to name him after like a more important player to me. So I was thinking like Albert Pujols. I'll name him Pujols. I'm like, no, that's weird. People are gonna like, why are you calling your dog Pujol? That's rude.
So
Hello.
my question was, you're obviously a voice actor. You do a lot of
No,
stuff.
wrong panel. Sorry.
As someone who's interested in voice acting and getting into that area, do you have any advice for how to start and how to get out there and get into it?
Yeah, so I'll give the short and the long answer. The short answer is go to iwanttobeavoiceactor.com. Yeah, D. Bradley Baker, who is Lion on Steven Universe, and Appa and Momo on The Last Airbender. And all the animals and creatures in every cartoon ever. Ever. He's immortal. Yeah, he made this website for people that were asking him that exact question at conventions and the like, and it's a really good jumping off point and resource that he maintains. The long answer is the things for me training-wise that really benefited me the most were my musical theater training and my singing lessons, vocal exercises and vocal, singing lessons. doing like all the, me, all that, crazy singer stuff that really helped with my vocal control and stamina down the line.
Thank you very much.
Likewise, best of luck. Break a lip.
So, as far as like voice acting goes, if you could pick one of your favorite childhood franchises to have acted in, what would it be and why?
Codename Kids Next Door.
Oh my God.
That was my show growing up. I still have like VHS tape because we didn't have Cartoon Network because my dad didn't want to get more than the basic cable package. I'd give him too much crap. No, so I watched PBS Kids at home, like a plebeian. And when I was at my grandparents' house, I would watch all my Cartoon Network shows and not spend time with them, so I could watch Cartoon Network. Sorry, Grandma and Grandpa. But I was like so addicted like to the cartoons at their house that they would make me VHS tapes of my favorite episodes, and I would like take them home and watch them over and over again. And in retrospect, like, I ended up doing this job. Like, that's like how all the origin stories start. Like when I was 5, like I fell in love with doing this thing, but I really did watch Cartoon Network when I was that age, like religiously. And I still have the illegal bootleg VHS tapes to prove it.
Of course. Whoa. Thank you so much.
So if they ever get that Codename Kids Next Door reboot going, give me a call.
Yeah.
I'll play like
not what DreamWorks is doing right now, obviously.
No, that would be mad copyright infringement.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. All right. Well, firstly, it's a pleasure to meet you, Zach.
Likewise.
Earlier when I said you were 21 years old, thing is that I've gotten the autographs of just about all of the Crystal Gym actresses. You're all that's left, if you don't mind a moment afterwards. But earlier today I was like, man, what are you, like in your late teens? You must be, since you were probably voicing Steven since you first played the role, right? You were probably around his age at the time.
Yeah,
but then
I was 14 actually when I started. We've come full circle.
Yeah, well, when I looked up your profile on Wikipedia, just because I wanted to see if I was right about your age or not, out of curiosity, I see that you're 21 years old, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, man. Although don't trust everything you see on my Wikipedia page, because for a long time, my middle name on there was Donald. My middle name is not Donald.
Then what is it?
It is Dean. I guess they got the initial right. They just saw like Zachary D. Callison somewhere and was like, oh, Donald.
Other cartoon character, Donald. Okay.
Yeah.
He was here at MomoCon today.
Yeah, Tony Manselmo,
this
right?
year.
We've crossed paths in the studio before. He's cool.
All right. Wait, which studio?
Oh man, some random studio. I was working.
Oh
on
wait,
Sophia
Disney, right?
I was working, on Disney Junior at the time. I was doing some singing for Sophia the First, I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here's my question I want to ask you.
Okay.
When you started on Steven Universe, playing the voice role for the main character, did you or any of your friends have any idea or had a feeling that Steven Universe might end up becoming the worldwide phenomenon it has become today?
If I had that kind of predictive power, I would be a much wealthier man. Not at all. I mean, I was stoked to be the like principal character on a show for the first time. That was the first time I had booked a role of that magnitude, and I was like, oh, cool. It's a goofy like kids show, like regular show. Like I love that show. Like this is gonna be great. And then like 20 episodes later, like we're singing and crying and screaming. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then San Diego Comic-Con 2015, I think, Jailbreak had just come out.
Oh yes.
And everything changed. I mean, the crowd was like going nuts, and people were singing the songs, and we were over capacity. We had to turn people away, and we 2 years in a row, the year before that and that year, we did joint panels with Adventure Time. And the first
Sweet.
year, like they were like piggybacking us onto them so that we could like get some promotion because nobody had heard of the show yet. And then the next year, it was like Steven cosplayers dominating the whole room. Like everybody was asking us questions, and they gave us our own panel the following year.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just Steven cosplayers, was it? It was also a lot of Jim cosplayers, right?
Oh yeah, we love our cosplayers. You guys are the best. There were some really good ones this weekend too.
All right. Well, keep up the good work, especially with the Steven Universe movie coming out later this year. We look forward to it.
You're gonna really like it.
All right.
Thanks, man.
All right, we have a couple more minutes left, so like really quick, like shotgun question answers. Let's go.
Yesterday, Colby was wearing a Batman cape. Is Batman your favorite superhero?
He's up there. I'm an Iron Man guy, but that's just that's the costume that he had handy. That's his convention outfit. So.
Get him a collar with
Okay,
like a
thank you.
reactor on it.
Thank you. What up, Raven?
Hi. So I just want to know what was your favorite
Solid catch. That was clutch.
Sorry. What's your favorite childhood TV show?
Codename Kissing Shore was one of them. I loved Arthur growing up. I loved what's that? Gay Rat Wedding. Ain't that the truth? Rebecca tweeted about that. That's really important to bring attention to that. Yeah, that was one of my like I said, PBS Kids. Some of my favorite shows were on there. Clifford the Big Red Dog. I used to like Caillou, and then I went back and watched it as an adult. I was like,
Caillou?
Yeah, Caillou is rude, bro.
He's so rude.
Caillou's savage. Yeah, that was one of my favorites, unfortunately. Dragon Tales. I watched a lot of Dragon Tales. Yeah, I like was hanging out late night, like after a party with some friends, and we put on Dragon Tales on Netflix or whatever it's on, or YouTube or something, and it doesn't hold up like we thought it would.
The song's good though. The song.
Dragon Tales. I don't know the rest. I forgot.
Tales. It's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this may have to be our last.
All right. Going back to Skyrim for a second, what's your favorite race and weapon?
Okay, I played a Khajiit first, but I ended up
Same here.
mostly playing an Imperial. The Argonians have a special place in my heart, though.
Yeah.
For their erotic fan fiction, sorry. Lusty Argonian Maid is a insta classic, real page turner. Favorite weapon. I totally like am the stereotypical meme Skyrim player, the like sneaky archer. So I was always doing the sneaky archer thing. I really like doing like dagger assassinations too. Like I was always like Dark Brotherhood, Thieves Guild, like on that.
All right, thank you.
Like punk gang. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming to this awesome panel. Thank you, Zach, for coming this weekend.
Thank you. We started with like twice as many people, or we ended with twice as many people as we started with. So I guess the ratings are good. Thanks for being here, guys.
Yeah, thank you. So again, you are going to go to autographs, and you're going to be there until.
Yeah. So you said 2:30. I might take a little more time, but like 2:45ish. I think I'll be at the table and ready to meet you guys. It's my last one of the weekend. I'm flying out right after. So.
And also, it's kind of like a self-plug, but like if you've already gone and met at the table, we are doing the Steven Universe sing-along in here right after this, so we can continue on and sing in your name while you're gone. But thank you guys for coming. Please feel free to go through the app and rate this panel if you liked it. So maybe we can have you come back again, hopefully soon.
I'm always down for Momo. This is home base.
Awesome, great, thank you.